here that when we came to you almost 10 years ago, we are talking about, we were still talking about the computer, but we are really dealing with a different breed of instruments and a different breed of technology at this time. Is that it might, would you say that it would be easier had I met you now instead of meeting you then? Would it have been easier to try to achieve, build a web page and do all of those things? Would it be easier to have achieved it from this point or from that earlier point?
Well, naturally, we can say that it would have been easier now because some of the programs are a lot easier to work with. But you still have to have that same basic introduction experience, and then that time from that point to wherever you're going with the computer has to take place. So you're not going to get out of the time you have to put in to learning your computer and learning where you want to go on the internet. So that still has to take place. So it doesn't matter where you start, it's just a matter of if I'm going to get started.
And it's, the most important thing is to start. Is that,
Right.
is that what we're saying? And I would imagine that there are many people out there who would like to start, but who are somewhat intimidated in a real sense by it, because I think that that was my attitude when I first came to you dealing with this, that I had been quite successful doing the cut and paste kind of thing, and as many people involved in higher education are doing now. We're still, a large number of people are still cutting and pasting, and I'd been quite successful in doing that, and I had, I guess in a real sense, justified my continued cut and paste by simply thinking that I could not become involved in this, and of course you were able to convince us of the importance of it, and we built a machine. Why don't you talk about the ability of individuals to get parts, certain parts together, and simply build something that might be small but it's functional.
Right. You don't have to have everything at one time on a computer. What we did with yours, we went on the internet and found different parts. We were able to find a box at one location, and then we found a motherboard and other hard drives and pieces that had to go with it, and was able to assemble one for quite cheaper than it would have cost to actually go out and buy one at a store. Of course, you have to wait for your parts to come through the mail and everything, but it's still well worth it once you put your own effort into actually building a computer.
Well, over the last 2 minutes, let's see if we might be able to give some directions in terms of what you think young people ought to do now. Because I think that in some of our schools, even though some of these schools have the resources that are available, we know that in some of our schools that these computers are still sitting on the desk and students are not using them as effectively as they could. Why don't you say something in reference to that?
Well, when a student is looking at a computer, a lot of times they don't really know exactly what they want to do in life. So sometimes you can research using the internet. But the thing is, if you're going to use the computer, make sure that you're not just using it for entertainment purposes, whereas it's just a game to you. It's just something to pass the time, because you can really get wrapped up into playing those games and find yourself, I would say find yourself just lost inside of the computer instead of actually doing something that would benefit somebody, yourself especially. And you want to be able to learn programs that would help you in future, such as typing programs. How do I make the letters bold, and how do I type on this to get a document to print properly? Some of those things, especially with spreadsheets, how to do a spreadsheet. You know, you can actually keep up with your checkbook on a spreadsheet. So some of those things actually help you in developing your savvy for the computer.
And of course, the more you become involved with that, then you sort of branch out and do more and more things.
Right. For instance, I've actually taken, from doing websites so much, I've been able to get in a lot more into graphics, where we take photographs, we actually take them and put back different backgrounds and wedding photos, and take those pictures and put them in magazines.
Okay, and of course, let me thank you, Mr. Perry, for that excellent information. And of course, let me encourage our audience to tune in again next week for another informative edition of Comments. Thank you, and good morning.